What is up YouTube? Silver Baggins here, and in this video I want to talk about how to set silver stacking goals. Thank you so much for watching my video. I sincerely appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing because I got a lot of great content coming out on silver stacking and other silver related topics. But let's get right into this one. I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to set silver stacking goals. And setting goals for your silver stacking is so incredibly important because when you're silver stacking, you're doing it for a reason. So you need to set goals for yourself, sort of expectations, and then you can actually see if you meet those expectations down the road. So I have set goals for myself when it comes to silver stacking. I have my own reasons for why I'm stacking. And real quick, if you're wondering, these are really cool dragon head boards that I recently did. This is fresh out of the mold, so it's still got a little bit of the dragon smoke on there. But anyway, I got to get these antiqued up and sent out. But let's get right to the topic at hand. The silver stacking goal setting. So what is the first tip when it comes to setting silver stacking goals? So we'll put a 1 here. And tip number 1 is that it needs to be measurable. Okay, so let's write that down here. Measurable. So what do I mean when I say measurable? Well, I mean that you can actually measure the goal. So let me give you an example. What would be a bad goal that's not measurable? Let's say your silver stacking goal was, I want to stack the most silver, or I want to stack a lot of silver. That is not a measurable goal. That you cannot see if you ever made that goal, right? Like, what is a lot of silver? Oh, I just want to stack a lot this year. Okay, well, what exactly does that mean? So if you set measurable goals, you can help keep yourself accountable to see if you're reaching those goals or if you're on your way to reach that goal. So a better goal than just I want to stack a lot would be I want to stack $100 face value of constitutional silver. That's a measurable goal because you can see when you get to $100 face value, you reach that goal. Another thing that goes along with measurable is you should have some sort of time limit for your goals, right? So if you set an even better goal would be, I want to stack $100 face value of constitutional silver in 1 year. That's an even better goal because it's measurable as far as how much, the quantity, and also gives you a time limit. So that's the best way to keep yourself accountable to see if you're working towards your silver stacking goal is it needs to be measurable. So that's one very, very important tip for setting goals for yourself. And it is 2019 and silver stacking, we got to be stacking silver more than ever right now, especially with these low prices. So definitely make sure when you're making goals for yourself, have them be measurable. Okay, let's get to tip number 2 in the silver stacking goals. Tip number 2, let's put some dots there, is that your goal needs to be realistic. Okay, let's write that down. Realistic. Now, this is kind of an obvious one for some of you, but let me put it in perspective. If you don't know what I mean by realistic, first off, I mean realistic is it needs to be somewhat achievable of a goal. You need to have a plan in place to be able to get to that goal where you think you can actually maybe do it. You know, you can kind of push yourself and stretch it a little bit, but it needs to be somewhat in the ballpark, right? So let's say you pay all your bills for the month and at the end of the month you've got like $10 left over and that's it. Well, you're not going to be able to stack $100 face value of junk silver in a year if you only got $10 at the end of the month, right? Because $100 in face value of constitutional silver, that's let's see. Well, $1 face comes out to not a full ounce. You need $1.40 to come out to a full ounce. So I don't know, it's a lot of money. Someone can do the math and leave a comment down below what that would actually be. But anyway, or maybe I'll do it and pin it. So, okay, so let's be realistic with our goals. So what do you think is somewhat achievable for you? Figure out how much money you have at the end of the month. And if, let's say you are having, extra money that you spend on other things that you could not spend, like for instance, let's say you go to Starbucks every day. That's like what, $5, $6, $7 a day you're spending on Starbucks. If you didn't do that, then you could save that money and put it towards silver stacking. So that would be one way to cut back on your spending to make your goals more realistic, more achievable for yourself. So I do think it is very important to have goals that are realistic, that are achievable, that you think you'll be able to get to. Like if you just put a goal out there, I want to stack 10,000 ounces this year, but you don't make nearly enough money to do that. Even if all the money you made for the whole year went to silver stacking, you still couldn't do it. That's not a good goal, right? So it needs to be in the ballpark of what you think you could actually get. And I will say, push yourself a little bit, right? Don't make it so easy like, I want to stack 10 ounces of silver this year. Okay, that's what, like $160 right now? That's going to be no problem. Even if you're collecting cans, you can do way more than that. I should know because last year I got well over 50 ounces of silver just from collecting cans. So anyway, that was tip number 2. It needs to be realistic. Let's get to tip number 3 on the silver stacking goals. So tip number 3 is that it needs to be focused. Okay. Now, what do I mean by focused goals? So you need to have an end game in sight. You need to know why you're silver stacking, and then your goals can be to get to your ultimate goal, right? Your small goals along the way will eventually get you to your final goal. So your small goals need to be focused. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're stacking for an SHTF situation, and you probably want to be stacking, junk silver or generic silver or whatever your strategy is. But if your goal is, let's say for 1 year, I want to stack or I want to collect all the Queen's Beast. Maybe that's your goal. Well, that doesn't really get you towards your end goal of preparing for SHTF. All those Queen's Beast are really cool. It's an awesome series, but that's not going to really help you get there. So your goals need to be focused on what is your end game. If you're stacking silver as an investment, then you probably want to be trying to buy silver on the cheap and not spending a bunch of money on like crazy high premium coins that you would think about flipping down the road if that's not really your strategy, right? So you need to have focus goals. You need to have laser focus on what's your end game as far as silver stacking. Why are you even silver stacking in the first place? So anyway, those are my 3 tips: measurable, realistic, and focused. And if you wanted to know my massive silver stacking goal for this year, and in fact for the next 5 years, I do have a video on that. I'll put a card up in the corner, as well as I'll put a link in the description and at the end of this video if you want to check that one out for yourself. And maybe you can have a goal similar to mine, because I think my goal is very fun. So anyway, that was the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Silver Baggins out.